Welcome in everybody. Tuesday night here on Divots and Pivots. I'm Andrew Ledoux. Keith Fleming here to my left, my right, whichever way your screen is oriented. Maybe if you're in Australia, it's flipped. I don't know. They have the whole backwards toilets thing there, right? Whatever. I don't know. Just bad one on here. Like I said, this is Divots and Pivots every Tuesday night here at 8 o'clock. We bring you the real good stuff, the news, the highlights, the DFS picks. We'll get you covered. We had a pretty decent week. We'll get into more details, but I know I at least came out profiting myself, barely, but profit is profit. How did you make out all right this past weekend, Keith, with your picks?
No and yes. I did okay in the DFS because luckily I got lucky. The $33 single entry was my best entry, so basically doubling up there made up for the awful lineups. But two of my $12 single entry lineups literally were almost dead last, which it's always impressive when you open it up and you're like, damn, like I don't know if I could try to like sit there and figure out a really bad lineup and do this bad. So I'm glad we're going back to a venue where previous history is a big deal. I feel like those are always my sweet spot because I don't overthink it. This is the third most predictive event on the PGA Tour calendar. Only Augusta National and Riviera, which is by far my best week so far this season, are the only two courses that are more predictive. And also just really excited because this is the point where I think that we're hitting like the best golf stretch.
Yes,
I think all season. The next 5 weeks we have obviously this great event. You have, TPC Sawgrass and the Players, the fifth major, Augusta National. And I still really love Harbor Town. I know some people can take it or leave it, but I think that's a fantastic venue and a fun tournament. And we're going to get all that basically in the next 5 weeks. You'll get to see most of the big names on tour teeing it up. Maybe we'll get a Rory Scotty showdown on Sunday. Gods be good. So, we're hitting the best time of the year, man.
We certainly are. I say that every single year because obviously Masters feels like it's within reach, but even like you said before that, the Players and this, like, they're easy to look past, but these weekends are about to start to get real fun. On top of, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to watch a ton of golf over the next few weeks because it's dance competition season for my daughter.
All right.
My son's flag football season is just starting this week too, so it's like we're going to be all over the place. It feels like. So we'll see how much golf I actually get to watch. I'll probably be watching a lot on my phone. But in the meantime, let's get to some of the news.
It could be the 80s, right? And you could be stuck like not having a phone to watch golf on. Right. It's, growing up, it's easy to forget how far we've come to where you'd have to like take a paper or a magazine somewhere and read about something that happened a day or two or a month ago. So we're definitely winning in that situation.
That always was kind of like, I do kind of miss that because as a kid, like when that's part of why I used to love baseball. I used to love looking at the paper like every day, and I had like the mini helmets, and I'd have them lined up on my dining room table. And with every day as the games happen, I would adjust my helmets in the order of the standings.
Love it.
So like that's how I had my standings. How I kept in touch with who was doing what in baseball, and there was something beautiful about being able to physically do that and move it around and look at a paper. So I don't know, nostalgic. Maybe I'm just aging myself. Really,
we're just old, but that's okay.
we're officially there. Let's get into some news and maybe some other old guys just sitting around bitching. And them old guys sitting around bitching is really not even old guy, but it's Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm. He comes out. Golf Digest releases earlier today an article about Jon Rahm's statement on the DP World Tour, who just recently let, I think it was maybe 8 golfers or so, Tyrrell Hatton being the biggest name there, to allow them to play both DP World Tour and Live Golf tournaments, and kind of mixed the requirements about having to play 6 tournaments, pay all outstanding fines, remove all of your any pending appeals you have. Like there's a list similar to what the PGA did. for their returning players. Like the other tours are learning to find a way to live symbiotically with Live Tour, and it's just how it is. This once again for me goes back to, well, before I get to that, Rahm basically is now saying he is upset. He feels used and abused basically by DP World Tour for his, you know, what they bring to each tournament, and they're trying to get the best of both worlds. And yeah, they are. They're a business, and you're a commodity of that business. Like, yes, you're an independent contractor technically, or your own business itself, but they have to operate as a business. They have rules. They can't just let it be the wild, wild west out there, similar to what happened with PGA Tour. So you know what you signed up for. You knew the reparations, and yet you keep bitching and crying, and that's where it gets old for me. So Rahm just he wants to be able to do what he wants, get paid, and have everyone look at him all happy. And it feels ridiculous.
He's a bitch. I'll just go ahead and say it. You know, clip it,
Okay,
whatever.
So John Rahm officially not coming on the Divots and Pivot show anytime soon.
Don't get me wrong. John Rahm will whoop my ass. I'm well aware of that. He's a big boy. Like, it would not go well for your boy, but
he also ate like 13 donuts in about one hole on Bob Does Sports. I don't know if you saw that, but
I mean, I believe it. He definitely looks like he likes to eat, but I it's just like, man, I'm so sick of these guys who make millions and millions and millions of dollars playing the sport that we spend every free moment that we can muster, and every dollar, again, that our wives will allow, buying golf, playing golf, etc. And then these guys are just like, it's like, dude, I know for a fact you just got paid like $300 million. Like, really, you're this big of a bitch with $300 million in your pocket? You've already won a couple of majors. Like, what is so bad about poor John Rahm's life? Like, Sevy would be disappointed. Let's put it that way. I just think he needs to shut up. And what he really needs to do is start playing good golf again. Because in case he hasn't noticed, there was a moment, and I was one of the one pushing that said I thought John Rahm was the best golfer in the world. Like, he was next. He was the guy that was next.
He had a run there where he looked unstoppable.
Well, and then Scotty Scheffler said, I don't think so. Right. And not only has he been passed by Scheffler, he's getting passed by other guys. And unfortunately for him, people can argue about it, whatever. Data shows these guys on the Live Tour have not done well in the majors overall. Like, really, outside of Bryson,
right?
None of them have a good record. None of them.
And Bryson's just an animal to where he's like a machine. He's a robot. Like, he lives, breathes it, and that's what you got to do when you make a decision like they made.
And I think that it's fair to question, is it just playing, 3 rounds, which I know they're justifying that this year. Like, I know there's some stuff they're working out. Maybe it will make a difference. I think it's more about just you don't mix it up in real competition. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if you watch a live event, it just does not look like a tournament. Guys are out there having a good time. They've already been paid. And anybody who's ever played in a 5-and-5 bet knows that, somebody presses, all of a sudden you're like, ooh, if I miss this putt,
right.
I'm going to be down $30 or whatever. Well, for these guys, it's legacy and, all the other stuff. So I couldn't imagine the pressure. And I just think they're not used to that pressure cooker. So Rahm, I want to hear less comments about stuff that does not involve you winning golf tournaments, because that should be it. He's not even winning golf tournaments on the Live Tour, if we're being honest. So,
yeah, I forget how many wins he has over there, but no, he's not right now. And at the end of the day, like, the decision that him and the others made to go take the money, play a different style of tour, and a big reason for a lot of them was less tournaments and more money, which I get.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want to get paid more for doing less?
Yeah, fantastic. But now don't turn around and be looking for the same recognition as when you played more.
Yeah.
Like, there's a sacrifice to be made, and that's it. You don't get the same treatment you got.
We're very loosely using the word sacrifice, okay? Like
100%. Yeah, in the scheme, in our comparison to our life, it's not real sacrifice, but
right.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I just want to make sure to clarify. It's like, you're a bitch, Rahm.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is.
Once again, John Rahm most likely not going to be a guest on Divots and Pivots anytime soon.
If it does, you get to see me do a 180 and suck up to him. So,
exactly.
you know.
That's okay. Other news, when it comes to kind of leading into this week, Justin Thomas and Sungjae Im make their return for the season. So Justin Thomas obviously coming back from the injury. We saw him briefly in TGO, which means nothing when it comes to the PGA Tour. Yep. But he's at least we at least saw him.
Yeah, we know he's hitting.
Yeah. So now he's going to be back this week, which will be interesting to see him actually walk, for a full 4 days. Oh, we'll see how many days, but at least 2 days. And then Sungjae Im as well, coming back. Both of these guys are interesting because we haven't seen him yet this year. But these are two guys who have fairly good history on this course. Mm-hmm. And it's Sungjae Im specifically, we'll get into more detail later, comes at a massive discount this week. Mm-hmm. So it's like you got to really start to, this is where, like you said, some course history and some of the raw historical data is really going to come into play this week. Do you feel either one of these guys can have an impact on the tournament this week?
I mean, yeah, it's possible. I more am questioning, this is where you want to come back? Like, this is a venue that I think it's 6 out of the last 7 years, guys are hitting less than 60% of the fairways.
Yeah, you got to be on here.
The last 7 years, guys are hitting less than 60% of the greens. And this is not the rough we were talking about last week at the Cognizant that you can just, basically blast out of there. I do have some concern of this is where you want to have your first, start of the season, because anybody who's played in really gnarly rough knows you can get hurt. Like, it can be a bad situation. So I thought it was curious that they're coming back here. I understand with the PGA schedule, what choices do you really have? Because you're either playing like the Cognizant, right? Mm-hmm. Or either you're coming back in this event, or they had obviously 2 signature events right before it. You got the Players the week after. I know they want to get events in for the Masters. Like, again, I understand all of that, but man, golf is so much of a confidence game. This kind of course will beat your tail. Only the U.S. Open since 2025 plays tougher in terms of average strokes. It's playing basically a stroke over par. I am a little curious that this is where you want to go. To your point, both of them have good track records. Maybe that has a lot to do with it. Again, Im's record is incredible. JT's is good, but I do, wonder the deal. And again, between me and you, I thought Im had left for Live. Like, that's how long it's been since I've seen him in a PGA Tour event. I don't watch Live events. I was like, damn, that sucks if you lost Im. And it's like, no, you lost on, Keith. You lost your boy Young on.
Yeah. So it's you nailed it though. That's what I'm worried about, especially for these guys coming off lower back, lower leg injury. Like, that's where you're going to hurt yourself if you get caught up in some rough. If you catch too much of the ground, coming at the wrong angle, and all of a sudden you put a jolt into your lower legs as you pivot, or in your back as you pivot. Like, I'll be curious. I'm less worried about Im than I am Thomas this week. Like I said, just because this does feel like
injury. Yeah,
it does feel like Im has. This is a place he's just comfortable, and he's kind of handpicked. This is where no matter what, I'm gonna come back here.
Hits it a little straighter than JT too, if we're being honest.
Well, and that's also a key here. And once again, we'll get into that more in a little bit here, but that is definitely going to be the key this week. Let's recap the Cognizant though, because you just mentioned that. It was an interesting week. It was a pretty close leaderboard most of the week and weekend coming in. Shane Lowry was there right at the top, or at least tied for the top all weekend until the last 3 holes, where he just had to play it smart. And
scale of 1 to 10, how shocked were you? Because I was pretty shocked.
So I was shocked because Shane Lowry's not a guy that I like to throw around the word chokes with. because he's just one of those guys that I think has that factor in him, that it factor, which I think we saw he still does. Like, I'm not questioning if he can bounce back this week, because the way he handled his interview after was just very human, very straightforward. Like, I think he's going to be fine this week. But it was just crazy that he just literally had to like hit it right and just not hit it left. And he dunked it in the water. And then the next hole, he dunked it in the water again. And next thing you know, he's just completely out of it. And
the shot on the par 3 was worse. I know he was only one of 2 people on 16 to actually, I believe, hit the water. And he also hit an iron, which it's always bad when you're laying up and you screw up. Like that's
I think it was a 3. Yeah, I think he just ripped a 3.
He had a 7 wood, like I was bragging on last week. You know, I don't think he'd have had that issue, but I think you're right. The one on 17 was shocking because that's nerves. That was 100% nerves. Like, I understand being uncomfortable on that tee shot on 16. Again, I know that nobody had really gone over there, but I at least get it. 17, it's like you're one of the best iron players on the planet. And he went so far right. Like, the minute that came off the club, it was like, oh boy, he went wet again. Yeah. So it sucks. I think that I'm with you. Lowry's going to bounce back. I actually like him this week. I think that you're going to see him immediately right the ship and have a good finish at a golf course that he's also been very good on. And then that's the other thing, to not like, yes, he blew the lead. That sucks. I think it was Cal Porter, one of the guys, showed he's actually struggled as of late. If you look at the last few years when he's had a lead since the Open Championship. But it was another example of him playing really well in Florida, on this Florida swing, on Bermuda greens. And this is, again, a venue that's just kind of tailor-made for him. And I expect him to bounce back. I do. Because, as you said, he wasn't calling Morikawa complaining about, I don't want to have to speak to the media because I just got bitch slapped like he did last year by Russell Henley. Lowry's like, look, I screwed up. It sucks. I always think of Phil Mickelson. What was it, the 07 U.S. Open? I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I just did that. One of the greatest quotes of all time. But Lowry will come back, and it was a good event. I like, it was fun because I was not really paying attention. I'm not gonna lie, like, it was on in the background, but it wasn't like I was into it. When he hit that ball in the water, we were watching.
You got into it, and doing that, what it allowed was for Nico Echeverria to sneak back in, because we can say all day that Lowry gave this one away when he should have won it, but let's not take away from the weekend that Nico had, because Nico was, we talked about Shane being up there the entire weekend, so was Nico. He was within 1 or 2 shots of the lead every single day, and he was positioned himself perfectly to where he could take advantage when someone else messed up, and that's exactly what he did. And he gets the birdie putt on 18, I believe it was, to solidify it and to end it. And he gets his, I believe it was his 3rd PGA Tour victory.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So good for Nico there. That's nice. He every now and then he
3 more than us.
This hits it 100% is. But we're talking about Shane Lowry this week and how this is perfectly kind of lined up for him. Again, let's get into the course breakdown, because this is the Arnold Palmer this week. It's the first jacket tournament of the year. We got that going for us. Yeah. So that's always fun to see. Russell Henley, your defending champion. It's a 72-player field, because once again, this is a signature event, but it's going to be similar to a few weeks ago, where we do still have a cut of top 50 in ties.
I don't get it.
So there'll be a cut. We'll see how many guys end up getting cut, but there will be a cut, and obviously it starts Thursday morning at, I believe, like 7:15 or whatever it was. But let's get into the nitty gritty, the fantasy rankings and stats for the week. Get it how you live, yeah, that's the only way. Hop off the porch and you make your money play. And we will make our money play. And the stats that I'm rolling out there this week to make my money play is actually pretty straightforward. There's really only one stat in there that I don't typically use, but I feel like it could be important this week. But we're going strokes gained approach, putting, Strokes gained par 5 because once again, these par 5s are the most gettable holes. You got to take advantage of them. And then strokes gained off the tee, like you said, is probably the most important stat this week, because if you miss the fairway, your percentage of every shot after that is way down to be able to make par even. So off the tee is going to be massive this week. But in coupled with that, I was specifically mixing it up, specifically scrambling percentage out of the rough.
Oh, you went just the rough. I like it.
I went just the rough because the rough is really, for the first time pretty much all year, is really going to come into play this week. And I wanted to see these guys like Shane Lowry, who even if he does miss, he's the type of guy that's strong enough to where he can still pull it, rip it, muscle it, whatever you want to call it, out of that rough with still some sort of an accurate swing. So those are my 5 key stats. Do you have any stats you want to throw in the mix there, or that you would take out?
No, I mean, I think it's a good list. I would definitely, like, for me, this is almost, a reset to like major championships. I typically look at them the same way. And again, Augusta National is such a good comp because players have to have a good record here. Like, you have to, even if it's just one start, because there's some guys like Cootie and, Ryan Fox, who literally, they only have one start here, but they did well. They finished 14th. That counts. But I would prefer guys have a litany of good starts. Right. I mean, you look at like Scheffler, he was 15th, and then since then it's 2 wins, a 4th and 11th. Like, that is the way it goes at this venue. Even Colin last year being the runner up, he's got a previous top 10 here. So it's very important. The proximity from 200 plus, like, is huge. Really 175 plus, but 200 plus, because it's, I think, 32% of the approaches are going to come from here, much higher than your typical number. A lot of that is the longest par 3s on tour. So that's part of it. You made a great point that the par 5s, I completely agree, are huge because they're really the only scoring holes. They're the only holes that play under par year after year. Outside of that, everything plays over par to the field. So scrambling and bogey avoidance, very big to me. I just think that this is a tournament, especially if you look at the guys that have had maybe not like won it, but a lot of success. Looking at you, Jason Day, these are guys that excel at getting it up and down, like their wedge play around the green. And don't forget, sand save percentage needs to be taken into account as well. There's 84 bunkers on this golf course. And again, not just bogey avoidance, but, if you have the more, higher metrics at your capability, the water danger holes, they have 9 of them. That, I believe, is the 4th most on tour. So you got to be able to avoid trouble. And then obviously, again, the par 5s are huge. I also am leaning into par 3s. They were a lot higher on my model than normal because I just think with those long par 3s, again, you either have to play par 3s well, or you better be good at scrambling, because I think they're all 215 yards or further. You do not see that at most venues. So you either got to be really good from that number, or either you got to have to, again, those are just, 4 examples of holes you're going to have to scramble to hold on for. But I think you're going to get your typical score, which is somewhere around 10 under par. It won't be a ton of guys in that number. It's going to be, just a handful of dudes kind of that separate themselves from the pack, and par is your friend. Like, guys that, if you're even going into the weekend, you're making the cut 110%.
Yeah. I forgot to look what the historic cut line is here. And I don't think, let me see the course.
Kind of tough though, because I think it's been, the 70 or 72 man field the last few years, and that changes
That's true. Yeah, that's true too. I forgot that's only been a couple of years since they've done that, so that makes sense.
I know this one guy in the last 8 years has had 4 rounds in the 60s in their tournament. So that pretty much, again, shows it's a very difficult golf course. This is not one you're going to see guys going out there and, they might have a 65 one day, but the problem is they'll probably come back the next day and shoot 75.
Right, exactly. So, but that makes for entertaining golf to watch. So, like, it's gonna be good. I hope I can see some of that amidst all the sports I got to go to this weekend. But all these stats pretty much get me. So I had released yesterday. Released yesterday my top 10 ranked out players for this tournament. And what that wasn't necessarily my top 10 like DFS. Like when I'm going to give my 5-player core here in a little bit. The core is the guys that you can realistically play based like that. I basically take the price into to factor there as well, because for that core, I want to be able to play, if I wanted to, at least 4 of those guys in any given lineup. So you got to take price into factor. But if I'm just talking chance to win, chance to score the most fantasy points, it's pretty much straightforward. Heavy hitters this week for me is, Scotty Scheffler's number 1, Rory's 2, Cam
Way
Young
to go out
3.
on a limb there, Andrew.
Right, I know. Like Tommy Fleetwood's 4. So now Pearson Cootie's 6.
I like
5.
that.
Sorry,
I like Cootie a lot this week.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, no. Matthew Fitzpatrick was 5. Pearson Cootie was 6. Henley 7. Xander 8. Ricky's back here 9.
Ooh, hello.
And then Jake Knapp at 10. So like, a lot of either big names, historic names from past, or guys who have just been on heaters so far this year. There's really no going out of limbs there. Unfortunately, like I said, price wise, only one of those guys I just named a price under $8,000. So that's why you can't just take those rankings and say that's my player pool for DFS, because it's never going to happen. But that is my top 10. Is there anybody that I said there that you think has no business being that high up the list?
You know that Jake Knapp is my boy.
I know.
I don't like that. He doesn't have success here. Like, it's not his fault. I think he's only played once, but
yeah, I believe it's only once.
That really scares me. Again, Cootie at least can say 14th in 2023. Same thing for Ryan Fox, who is another one of my favorite guys this week. Because I'm not gonna lie, like I really leaned in again on scrambling, the bogey avoidance, and then the 200 plus, and then it's just a bonus if they play par 5s well. And I hate to say this, but I think a lot of people are sleeping on Jordan Spieth, who is one of the cheapest guys on DraftKings. He has finished top 4 in 2 of his last 3 starts here. He talks about all the time these venues that he just likes. This is one of them, because I think it ends up making the golf course. Like, everybody has played Jordan Spieth golf, right? Like, Spieth is typically hitting it all over the freaking lot, having to scramble from all these ridiculous locations. Well, even if you're a good ball striker and you're having a good week, you're going to have that happen at this venue. So it kind of evens it out. I have noticed too, Spieth's like tee to green. The last 4 Arnold Palmer Invitationals, I think he's like top 10. And this, the strokes gain. Yeah, here we go. So strokes gain per round, top 10. You got Scheffler, a whole stroke more than Russell Henley, Corey Connors. Jordan Spieth is 4th. Fox and Cootie are 5th, but remember, they've only played once, so that's going to really skew that. Same thing for Michael Kim, who's 9th. Jacob Bridgman, again, who's 10th. But you got Rory and Bradley in between. So the ones to me that really stand out are the guys that have played here a bunch, and that's Scheffler, Henley, Connors, Spieth, McIlroy, and Bradley, because all of those guys are not just going off of one start. But Spieth, again, like he putts so well. He's such a good scrambler. He's very good out of the rough. And this is a venue that I'd be surprised if he's not, in the mix. And he was actually pretty high up on my model because, again, I leaned really heavy into a lot more of the scrambling, bogey avoidance, that kind of stuff.
Right. Totally understandable. And if I had to make an argument against my own words here with Jake Knapp, because you said it, and then I wanted to just look into something really fast. So over his last 36 rounds, this is like more of a trend graph here. So over his last 36 rounds, he peaked with gaining 0.77 strokes off the tee. But ever since then, if you look at his last 24 rounds, down to 0.51. Last 16 rounds down to 0.48. And over his last 8 rounds, he's dropped all the way down to just flat 0 off the tee. So he's trending in the wrong direction, unfortunately, off the tee. But he is trending.
You think he's going to hit the driver? Or is this one of those courses you could see him hitting that like driving wood or whatever he has off a lot of tees? Because he hits it obviously plenty far enough. I mean, that's what they were talking about. Is this is a venue that you look at somebody like Russell Henley, right? Who is typically, he loses so much. Siwoo Kim's another guy who has a pretty good track record here. They lose a lot of distance off the tee to a ton of these guys week in and week out. That's not really the case here, because whether it be players laying up with less than driver, trying to avoid the water, you know, just bunt it in the fairway, everybody kind of ends up hitting from pretty much the same spot. So this would be an opportunity for guys like that to, you know, really kind of lose the advantage. Because I think that off the tee is fine. I do like the, you know, total driving. I think this week is not a bad thing to look at. And I actually don't hate just driving accuracy. Right. Because if you look like when Kitayama won, what was that, like 2-3 years ago, he led the field in driving accuracy. So that is a blueprint to win. Now, he's also, you know, was very good on approaches, and he always is from that, like, you know, 170, 200 yards further in. But I think it is noteworthy that it's, I think, the only event he's ever led the field in driving accuracy. And, you know, he won that week, obviously.
Yeah. So I do think it's going to be a week where he's taking like the mini driver along what is going to be in play, because like you, and I think that's another reason why that 200 plus approach range is definitely the proximity range to go for, because I think that's what a lot of guys are doing. They're taking less than driver off the tee to play it safe, because, you know, the distance isn't really something that you need to force here. So that's what they're doing. And yeah, Jake Knapp did play just once here before. I did double check that. He is a T57 finish, so he did
made the cut though. Like, that's not a bad first play there. And he's the kind of guy too that I always have to remind people. I know he's a bomber, but his strength of his game is he is good on and around the green. So if he has a week where he hits his irons, I think the biggest concern with me would be that, like, if I remember correctly, he's not great from like that 200 plus number typically. But if he's, you know, continues to scramble, I know like his scramble, bogey avoidance, all that this year is very good. You know, he does that again, he'll be right there. Because if you just can, to your point, take care of the par fives and not make big numbers, you're going to hang around, because 3 under each day is going to, you know, have you right in the thick of the tournament.
Yeah, Jake Knapp second in the field in scrambling this week, only second to Scotty Scheffler. So, yeah, he's definitely been up there. He's also, his putter has been on fire,
really good
as of late. So that's really good as well. And in his one other appearance here as well, let me see here. It's he actually had a poor scrambling week here in 2024 when he played here. But other than that, he
that's something that's improved, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Each year he's gotten better. With his kind of wedge game, scrambling around the greens.
Yeah, so that's something I kind of take with a grain of salt. Same thing with his off the tee, honestly. I think he was playing more for distance and driver before, you know, 2 years ago. So I think he's matured a bit in that. So I don't take that too much as far as his one time here, because like you said, when it's one time, you really have to kind of look at the circumstances of what those stats meant. But his approaches have been consistent in that one time here and in recent form. So it's Jake Knapp is just a guy that is feeling it enough right now that I'm willing to take a chance on.
Oh no, for sure.
But I 100% get the pause for maybe typically it might not completely match his style here.
Do you like him or Cootie more? Because that's two guys both playing well, both coming in with only one start here. And I know, again, Cootie, you know, technically did better. He had a 14th to his 55th, but I'm just saying two guys that play a very kind of similar game. Cootie's also been well at scrambling, because the one thing I would recommend in your DK lineups and also your betting cards, I wouldn't get carried away, right? Like, it's okay to have one guy potentially that doesn't have a lot of experience that you really like. But I think you start loading up lineups with guys that have a lot of experience here. That's how you can end up, you know, unfortunately having guys miss the cut, which it's a real penalty in these size fields if your player misses the cut, because most people's guys are going to make the cut.
Yeah, most people have
so
6 lineups.
Yeah.
Yeah, so especially in GPPs, you have to have that. I mean, in cash too. I'm saying especially, but you just have to have that in a week like this. And I am playing actually 25 lineups this week.
Okay.
I went back to GPPs for this week.
All right.
I did cash last week, profited, but I wanted to really try to crack my process for the GPP. So I'm going back again this week with 25 lineups. And so, yeah, there will be like maybe one or there'll be definitely at least one lineup where I have a risk like Knapp and Cootie in the same lineup, just because why not with GPPs. But yeah, I do like Cootie more this week over Knapp.
I do too.
I think he's playing just as well as Knapp. Yet I think his style just slightly fits the course a little bit more in the setup, a little bit more than Knapp. So like it's close. I think Knapp has more of the gravitas, if you want to say, to where if it really came down to a shootout between Knapp and a Tommy Fleetwood and Cootie and a Tommy Fleetwood, like I'm going to take Knapp in that situation over Cootie. But I like Cootie overall, and especially at $1,000 cheaper than that. That's another reason that plays into it. Cootie being a 7,600 is a big reason why he's so high up in my model this week, because he's just one of those guys that if you're looking to get like I said, a lot of these big names who are 10,000 plus or the upper half of 9,000 range, you gotta take a shot on someone like Cootie. You gotta take a shot on. Let's see, who are some of the other cheaper guys I have in here. Keith Mitchell again.
Yes, that a boy. Cashmere Keith Mitchell. Let's go.
I actually I gotta double check my. I don't have it up in front of me. I believe Keith Mitchell is one of my top 3 highest exposed, because I already built my lineup, so I think he's a top 3 high exposure for me this week.
I mean, don't forget 2 top 6 finishes here from 2019 to 2023, 3 top 10s. This is a course built for Keith Mitchell. He is somebody that drives the ball extremely well, extremely straight. He hits a lot of greens in regulation. He's 20th on tour right now in that. And again, if he can putt well, that's the one thing, is he does struggle. But I mean, even bogey avoidance this year, he's 52nd, which is up from most years. I really like Ryan Fox, Nick Taylor, Andrew Putnam. Those are kind of the cheap guys that I keep circling over and over again.
I'm hearing a lot of Nick Taylor from a lot of guys so far this week. So Nick Taylor's definitely, he's in my model too. I'm sprinkling him in, but not as much as most, just from the ownership standpoint. I feel like there might not be as much of an edge there, but I mean, with 25 lineups,
he's made the cut 3 or 4 times here. The big thing for me is just he's so good scrambling. Like if you look at it right now, he's 5th in scrambling, 7th in scrambling from the rough. So whether it's fairway or rough, he's elite. Obviously, his bogey avoidance numbers are typically good. The big thing for me is his ball striking numbers. They're not great right now,
right?
But they're still good, right? He's 47th on strokes gained approach, 44th tee to green. He's 43rd around the green. But we all know he's typically one of the better long iron players on tour. And if he gets hot, like he's more than capable of, from that 175, 200 and further away this week, he's got a great chance, because again, he's such a good scrambler and he's a really good putter on Bermuda greens is the other thing.
Yes.
So
no, he definitely is. And the other guy that I'm also taking a chance on so the one guy I'm kind of ignoring course history on this week, and favoring current form, mainly because with the eye test and in the way not just how his numbers have lined up, but if you just watch the way he's played his game and attacked these courses so far the last few weeks, I am going back to Nikolai Højgaard. Even though he's missed the cut the last 2 times he's been here, feels like he's playing different than he has in those other years. And that's one of those eye test things where at 7,200, Nikolai Højgaard, who just, lit it up this past week, and obviously he didn't win, but as far as a DFS standpoint, he was putting up numbers, he eagles, and
he makes a lot of birdies.
Yeah, makes a lot of birdies. So doing all the things that you need to do. So at 7,200, I just feel like that's purely a value play, to where he's someone who should be able to easily return value if you're playing him in cash or GPP. Your whatever multiplier you're using, I feel like Nikolai Højgaard can cover that spread for you and return that value, because I just think he's playing too good right now for 7,200.
Where are you at on Thagala? Because he's the other guy I really like this week. He missed the cut here last year, but he was playing awful. Like, if you remember, last year was just a down year for Thagala overall.
It was.
Prior to that, he played very good. 6th in 2014, 14th in 2024, and 14th in 2023. He's, really good on and around the greens, top 35 in both strokes gained around the greens and strokes gained putting, 25th in scrambling, 5th scrambling from the rough. I know that's a big deal for you.
Yep.
He's still top 30 in bogey avoidance. The big thing for me, playing par threes very well. He's 38th, but also 12th in par five scoring, which we know is going to be a big factor this week. I really like him at 6,800. I think him and Ryan Fox are probably the two guys I feel the most confident in that are under 7K.
Yeah, no, the value for him is definitely there. It really comes down to, like, I feel it's, for me, just hasn't been hitting it straight enough recently. And that's where I'm struggling with. Historically, he's done decent here. Like, he's been able to handle this golf course in the past. So it could be he's worth taking some chances on, because it could be a get right kind of week for him. In a week that, like you said, a lot of guys will struggle. So for a guy to have a get right week somewhere people struggle, that would mean big things from a DFS point, from winning bets, value, whatever. So, like, I don't mind Thigala at all. He's just not someone that I was gravitating to when I was putting my list together. So he didn't make my final player pool list.
I got you.
I don't mind him because, like I said, so 6,800 is a good reason to go for him. I would just rather take a chance on Sung J M at 6,500.
Ooh.
I would, just because his history here, a real kind of I don't even remember why the hell this guy made my list, because it's a risky ass play, and I need to look.
You about to say Poke Guide, or what are you about to do here?
I was about to say Poke Guide, and I honestly can't remember why he even made my final list. Because if you just look at his flat numbers,
yeah, they're not bad.
They're nothing they're nothing too impressive either. That's the problem. But at 6,500, there's just other guys down here that I trust a lot less, if that makes sense. Ryan Gerard at 72, he just hasn't played here, so, like, it's I'd say,
you got guys though like Patrick Rogers, who, again, good track record here. You got Brian Harmon, who's got a good track record here. What I always tell you guys with Hosh, every time you're playing a really difficult venue, that irons and accuracy is a big deal. Tom Hosh should be somebody that you consider. Novak to me is interesting. The Putnam one, though, to me is the guy that, again, when you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, man, 4th in driver accuracy right now. He is somebody that is a good iron player from that 200 plus yards, and he's just not going to lose the distance like he normally does to the field. Because, like I say, he's 4th in driving accuracy. He's finished 34th or better in 3 of his last 4 starts here. 8th or better twice. So like, he likes this venue. He's 12th in par 4 scoring. That's kind of where he takes advantage of it. 27th in birdie or better percentage, 20th in green and regulation percentage. And if he can find fairways, which 4th in driving accuracy, I think he's got a great chance again to be somebody that wouldn't surprise me if he has like a top 10 or top 20. And he's what, 62, 61? Like, he's always 6,000. Yeah,
he's literally the bottom of the barrel. I'm not even sure how many guys are priced as low as he is.
It's just him, Bennett, and Campbell.
So, all right. So, why is Bennett not showing up for me?
He's not showing up for you? Yeah, he's in there for me.
So he's not showing
Daniel
up.
Bennett, right?
He wasn't showing up on BetSperts for me though.
Oh, well, that I don't know.
He's not. He doesn't seem to be in the database or something. Like, he just,
maybe it's because he's a DP World Tour guy. You think
it might be? Yeah, it might be because he's just not in there. So, but I've also been hearing a lot about Bennett this week. I just didn't, unfortunately, have the stats in front of me to be able to pick him apart. But I've been hearing everyone else talk about Bennett. So that's definitely someone that
for
that
6K. I mean, and he's super talented. I mean, that's a young, potential superstar. So you're going that way on total, again, talent, which that's what happens at a lot of these, fields. We'll do the same thing in the majors, right? Where you have a guy that who knows what they're going to shoot. Like this is probably the biggest tournament that Bennett's ever played in. But he also has the talent to where it wouldn't shock me. And these guys are so unafraid of the moment now that he goes out and shoots 66, 66. It wouldn't shock me.
I want to see what's possible if you throw in Bennett and Putnam. I want to see if you can really go top heavy with some options here.
They made Scheffler's price more manageable this week, which was nice.
Yeah, so that's too many right there. Let's see, but if you
I can go ahead and tell you because I've done it. You're gonna have to play all 3 6K guys to get Rory and Scheffler in it, and that gives you a little wiggle room.
Yeah, so I was actually more so looking at, just because I felt like it was more realistic, Rory and Fleetwood, and mixing in. So that gets you down to 6,500 if you go. If you try to squeeze in Rory, Fleetwood, and Morikawa. Where are you on Morikawa this week?
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
I like him too. So I was just curious. He seems to be
the ultimate ball striker. I mean,
people seem to be scared of him this week for some reason. I've been hearing.
You should be scared of him because you never know which one's going to show up. I get that, but I mean, if we're talking about, he finished runner-up here last year. His ball striking metrics are absurd, which they normally are. He's playing par fives really well, which is huge again this week. He's top 20 in that. And I just you're telling me again that he's a pretty big discount in this field when 8th tee to green, he's 23rd strokes gained off the tee. He's one of those guys that can go out and just absolutely ball strike a golf course to death. And this is one of those courses that you can win that way. I mean, just by going out and basically hitting the ball better than other people. The real question is Scotty Scheffler going to show up gaining strokes on the green or losing them? Because you look his last 4 starts here, 2 of them, he gained strokes. He won the tournament basically easily. 2 of them, he lost strokes, and he still finished no worse than 11th. Right. And I believe he's gained strokes now. It's in 50 or 55 straight rounds. It's something ridiculous. So if that Scheffler shows up, it feels like they're all playing for second.
And that's fair. And I did just I don't mind it for when trying to go top heavy with as many of those top guys here. If you did play Putnam, Bennett, and M, all guys 65 and less. Yep. You can do a lineup where you have Rory, Xander, and Fitzpatrick. You can do a lineup where you have Rory, Fleetwood, and Morikawa. I'm sure you could do a lineup. I didn't do the actual math, but if you mix Scheffler in instead of Rory, you probably just have to drop Morikawa down to someone in the 7K range or something like that. But it's definitely. I'm going to try to do that right now. Actually, why not? Why not edit some of my lineups right now? Because.
You can, for instance, I have a lineup right now that is, you've got Ryan Fox, Hideki, Rory, Morikawa, Putnam, and Thagala. And you could put M in there. I mean, that's using every dollar. If you put M in there, they give you $300 to mess around. Say if you swapped him out for Fox, that's $200, $300 for Thagala. You can make some moves, but I do like playing Scheffler this week though in cash too. I think it does make sense to play him. You're going to have to play 3 of the 6K guys, but if you do,
and then cross your fingers.
Still build. Well, you say cross your fingers. I mean,
I said, one of those guys in Sung JM is I think.
I can't be going with Sung J and cash. I agree with you for multi-entry, but I can't roll with him right out the gate. Same thing with JT at this venue and a cash lineup.
That's fair. I understand that. That's fair. Cash and GPP is just completely different
animals.
Of course. Completely different. But look, that's I know you got a fantasy 6-pack coming up here at 9. So real fast, I can't believe I haven't even had to do this once since you've been my co-host here. But where can people turn off here and tune over to fantasy 6-pack coming up in a few minutes, actually?
Well, you can obviously go to the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. If you subscribe while you're there, that'd be awesome. You can usually find the show. We kind of typically run it at the same time on both Twitter and Facebook. And then if you go to fantasy6pack.net, I do an article each week for the tournament. And then for our premium all access members, it's I think it's like $7 or $8.50 a month. I provide cheat sheets each week, which is with DFS and betting plays, obviously notes. You can contact me in Discord if you have questions. And the other thing, though, is it's not just my golf plays. The baseball stuff that they have in there is phenomenal. Dave Eddy has been on a heater for now about a year with player props and stuff. We have a betting cheat sheet that they update every day. There's just a lot of good stuff on there. And, let's be honest, with all the crap that I'm sure you're subscribed to, what's, $8.50 for the right to tell me on Discord I'm either a genius or an idiot after, my place for the week. So
we got some comments in the chat before we get off too. We are not watching cricket. I don't know if you are, but I am not. I also don't care that England.
I told you really pointed out last week that we have hit this market, man. It's pretty impressive.
Apparently good. So thank you for watching. I'm sorry we're not into cricket, but thank you for watching.
I wonder if Babar Azam is finished and retired. I wonder if that's like a hot take or if that is just,
Well, it looks like he meant to put
more of a statement of a fact.
Yeah, so he repeated the comment with a question mark. So I think he's asking us, but unfortunately we do not have any takes on that for you.
How hard do you think it'd be to hit a cricket ball? Because to me, it looks really difficult. Because don't you have to bounce it or something?
Well, the throw. Well, I think it's called a bowler. If I'm not mistaken, I think the quote unquote pitcher is a bowler.
Right.
And they bounce it to you, and then what I think is crazy is how they hit it backwards so far.
Right.
They put the cricket bat down flat, and then they just flip it up, and the thing goes. For whatever it's called, I don't know. It's not a home run, but you know what I mean. I'm sorry if we're butchering your sport. Thank you for watching our show on our sport here, golf. But I'm also not going to try to say your name. I don't want to be offensive, so I'm sorry. But thank you. Please come back again.
You definitely don't want my country ass trying to pronounce it. So
you can teach us a little bit about cricket in the comments. But look, every Tuesday night, 8:00 here on YouTube, every Wednesday morning on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can find the audio. I'm Andrew LeDuc. This is Keith Fleming. We are Divots and Pivots, and we love you. And as always, stay classy, my friends.
Keep them in the fairways, boys.